Hi everybody, it's me, Healy, and I prepared a wonderful online session for you today. So, are you ready? I want to talk about a few things that I know you're really curious about. First thing is classroom management, right? So, today we'll talk about 5 strategies um, for preventative classroom management, meaning if we do those things, we'll have less problems, less students getting out of focus, and more engagement in class. So, are you ready to start? So, I'm going to give you 5 tips from this amazing book. This book is called Classroom Management 24 Strategies Every Teacher Needs to Know by David R. Adamson. So the first idea is called social cues. Social cues are things that we do when we want to reinforce positive behavior and we want to make sure the others hear me and are doing the same thing, are doing the positive, the good behavior that we want them to do. So, for example, if Danny is not taking out his books, not opening his book, just talking to friends, and Daniela, who sits right next to Danny, is opening her book, and she opened her book and she started working. So in order to reinforce the positive behavior and make Danny join in and do the activity we want him to do, we go over to Daniela and we say, good job, I see you opened your book. Good job, Daniela. I see that you're with us. Thank you very much. You're on page 37. Started working. You're good to go, Daniela. And so when Danny hears it, he'll probably join along. That works so many times. That works really well in class. It's not 100%. It's never 100% because people are people. But that's a good strategy to use in class and use a lot. And that's, of course, instead of singling out those who don't do the work and saying, Danny, why didn't you open your book? Danny, you need to open your book on page 37. Danny, everyone is waiting for you. Everyone is already there. So instead of doing all those negative comments, we can reinforce the positive comment or the positive behavior by praising the positive behavior, stating the name of the person who did it, saying it loudly enough so the others can hear it. Okay? So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2. Attention signals. Attention signals. When we want to teach the class, we want to say something important, we want to make an announcement, we want to teach something, we definitely want their attention. Okay? So when we're talking over students' voices, we're giving them the impression that we're okay with speaking. Whatever I say is not that important because it doesn't matter if you're listening. So we don't want to send out this message that what we say is not important. We want to send out the message that what I'm about to say is very important and everyone should listen to it. And how do we do it? So first of all, we want to have some kind of an attention signal, something that will grab their attention. It could be a chant, a song, a word. It could be a raise of hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be ready, set, go, or it could be anything at all. And what we do is we want to prepare them for this. So like David R. Adamson says in his book here, I'm going to read it. So the components of attention signals are: get students ready. So first of all, we can walk around and we say, I'm gonna start the signal in a minute. So get ready. You have 1 more minute, and then I'm gonna need your attention. And you can kind of walk around and say, you have 1 more minute. 1 more minute, and I wanna continue teaching. Get ready, and students can get ready. Number 2, move to the center of the class where you can be seen by all the students. So after you got them ready, you stand somewhere where they can see you. Could be at the center of the class, could be in the front of the room, could be that by the board, could be in the middle of the class. And once you stand there, number 3, use your audible or visible attention signal. So it could be something that we say, but it could also be a show of hands, okay? It could be sheen for sheket, or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, or it could be something that we say like Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you, hocus pocus, everybody focus, okay? So It could be all those attention signals. And if you type in attention signals on Pinterest.com, you can find so many things that you can say. What I like to say is Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and the kids say, where are you? Hocus pocus, and then say, everybody focus. Holy moly, guacamole. Macaroni and cheese, everybody freeze. And my students know that once we say freeze, then it's freeze. No one is moving, everyone is listening to me, and they have their eyes on me. So that was number 3. That was attention signals. Oh, and then also you need to make sure that you keep an eye contact with them. Give brief eye contact to every student. Use 2 to 3 social cues to reinforce the expectations. So here he goes back to giving a social cue. So saying, good, Daniela is with me. She's looking at me. Good job. Yali, you're looking at me right now. That's very good. So we want to reinforce that attention signals. And then we want to start immediately. If we wait too long, then it will just kind of like dissolve and disappear, and we won't have their attention anymore. So we want to start teaching immediately, right after the attention signal. The third strategy is called use self-starters. Self-starters. Okay, so once students enter the room after the break, or if they go into the English room, basically they have two choices. They can either continue their break in the room, or they can go into a different environment or a different atmosphere where they come in. It's learning time. So what I like to do when they come in, and I'm still waiting for more students to come to the English room, then I use self-starters. Self-starters are things that I have in my class that students can do quietly until everyone is in the class. So it could be books to read from the any books you have in the English room. It could be little crossword puzzles that you prepare in advance. It could be fun things. It could be a nice review worksheet, something that you know that they know already and that is easy, and it's just a review, and they can do it until you actually start. Okay, so that's called self-starters. A lot of teachers ask about how do I check the work, and how do I make sure that they've done it well? You can check, but you don't have to check everything. You can check 1 to 2 questions. You can just go over it. You can see that it's done, because it's just a review and it's not a mapping or an exam or a quiz or anything like that. It's just something to review by the time everyone comes into class. Okay, we got to the 4th strategy. It's called proximity control. Proximity control just means that a teacher is not standing at the back of the class and being far away from all the students. Basically, you have those students who sit at the back of the class, and teachers sit in front, at the front of the class, and there's no really contact. No, so proximity control just means having first row. Everybody in the class should be first row students, and that just means that you have to kind of go around all the time, circulate, and move between rows or groups, or however the class is set up. And that way students know that the teacher sees them. They're not transparent. The teacher can see them, and they're part of the class. They cannot disappear. Proximity control also means that you show them that you're with them. Let's say they do some work, you don't stay here, you go to them. That shows them that you're there to answer their questions and to assist in anything they need. And this is my favorite, strategy 5, time limits. So a good way to keep class engaged, always working, is to have time limits for everything. So let's say it could be you give them something really easy to do, or something more difficult, or something to read. Try to allocate time for every activity. And when you say you have 5 minutes to read that text and answer 1 question, or you have 5 minutes to answer question number 3. We have 7 minutes to discuss that question with a person, the person that sits next to you. All of those are very, very important. It's important to allocate time so they know how much time they have, and that they cannot waste their time. They cannot do other things. And they have to be on top of things and do them as seriously as possible. And so a good way to do it, especially with young learners, is to put the time on the board. So of course it could be something very simple, like you write 5 minutes and after a minute you write 4 minutes. It can also be that you use classroom timers, and of course there's a website. If you Google classroom timers, you would find many things, many fun classroom timers to use in class, and you can just project them on the board. Of course, Class 123 is a great tool for classroom management, allocating points. There's also a timer over there that you can use on the website Class 123. I'm pretty sure there's one on Class Dojo as well. So when you do that and you allocate time, there are definitely on top of things and they're working. Also, you want to make sure that you tell them how much time they have left. So you can say you have 10 more minutes to finish your video, you have 5 more minutes to finish your discussion, and you have 1 more minute, and before you can even say you have 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready? Everybody pencils down, eyes on me. Pencils down, eyes on me. And once you do that, they're with you and they're engaged. So I hope those strategies will help you. I hope you feel more confident with them. And don't forget praising them. We'll go over the rules again. So, 1, social cues. Remember, praising students, telling them, reinforcing good behavior, praising the students who behave really well, and tell them what they're doing is good. Also, don't forget when you do that, you also, once the other students join in, you immediately praise them as well. So, I mean, the reason they did it is to be praised and be seen and do the good things. So make sure those students that join along after you give your social cues, you give them the praising as well. And you tell them, you say their name, say Danny, good job. I see Danny is also on page 37. And you just reinforce that positive behavior so everyone can hear it. Also, number 2, attention signals. Don't forget your attention signals, whether it's another one is when I say class, you say yes. Class, yes. However, I say class, you say yes. Class, yes. Class, oh, class. Students say yes, oh, yes. This is from whole brain teaching. You can probably Google or search on YouTube whole brain teaching, and you'll find so many more classroom management strategies. Use self-starters. That's number 3. Self-starters are things that students can do until you start the lesson. Things that are review activities, very easy review activities, worksheets, or reading a book, or anything that they can do quietly until you start your lesson. Number 4, proximity control, walking around in the class, not standing always at the front of the class, behind the desk, but walking around. Number 5, time limits. You always want to give time limits for everything because that keeps them on their toes, working and being ready to go. So I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something new, and I will see you soon. Bye.